It's time now for our daily business update. Oil giant BP has announced plans to slash 10,000 jobs, around 15% of its workforce. The coronavirus pandemic has seen demand for oil plunge and oil prices plunge to their lowest level in decades. Well, standing by to give us all the latest on this story is our business editor, Kate Moody, who joins us now via Skype. Kate, thank you very much for joining us live on the programme. BP's announcement comes as the oil industry continues to struggle with the side effects of this Covid-19 pandemic.
Simon, the absolute collapse in demand for oil has been just another unprecedented aspect of this crisis. Now, BP has been trying to reposition itself as an energy company focusing on more sustainable sources, but oil remains its key business. And the CEO, Bernard Looney, told staff this Monday that oil prices have now dropped below the level they need to be able to turn a profit. He said in an internal email, we are spending much, much more than we make. I'm talking about millions of dollars every single day. Now, BP had imposed a 3-month freeze on redundancies starting in March. That has now expired. 10,000 positions are going to be cut in the coming months. Other oil giants could announce similar layoffs, and we know that a lot of smaller oil companies are at risk of facing bankruptcy now. This weekend, the OPEC producers cartel and its allies, including Russia, agreed to extend their deal to scale back output by another month. This takes us to the end of July now. That effort has seen global oil supplies drop by about 10% in recent months. Prices have stabilized. International Brent trading at around $41 per barrel. It had dropped below $20 in April. We're still more than a third lower than the prices we were seeing at the beginning of this year. It's no question that what the industry really needs to recover here is a return of manufacturing, a return of travel, and overall for oil demand to start to rise again.
Difficult times for the oil industry, Kate, and it's also a gloomy forecast for the global economy after the World Bank's statement today.
This ties in with a lot of other projections we've been seeing of the deepest, most wide-ranging recession since World War II. The World Bank predicts the global economy will contract around 5.2% this year. It says advanced economies could shrink 7%, developing economies about 2.5%. 90% of the world's economies are expected to see some dip in GDP output this year. It's an extraordinary figure. Now, the report from the World Bank also predicts does predict a rebounding growth next year, but that's only if the pandemic is brought under control in the second half of 2020. The world's most vulnerable people face an especially high risk. After a decade of global poverty levels dropping, that trend is expected to reverse this year, with incomes expected to drop around 3.6% on average. I've been speaking to the lead author of that report, Franziska Ohnsorge. Take a listen.
In the average EMDE, emerging market and developing economy, informal activity accounts for 70% of employment. These people work in crowded conditions. In sub-Saharan Africa, the average urban dweller, 70% of the urban dwellers live in slums where you have communal access to water, hand washing facilities. It's very difficult to do social distancing there. Their incomes are if not extreme poor, then a quarter of the population are near the extreme poor in the average low-income country. It's difficult to do social distancing. And the last problem is that these informal workers are very hard to reach through government support programs.
So really highlighting the plight faced by these millions of informal workers around the world. Despite that, Ohnsorge told me that she thinks governments are overall doing a pretty good job of unleashing stimulus, being very proactive in trying to support both businesses and workers around the world. But she says this could be the moment for real systemic change to try and make economic growth more sustainable, more inclusive, and of course help the millions of people who are now at risk of falling into poverty as a result of this pandemic.
Yes, it certainly is going to be some difficult months ahead. Our business editor, Kate Moody, thank you very much for that analysis, Kate. Thank you.